Happening losers, today we are going to be going over Madolche, which is a deck of Earth and mostly Fairy type. So to start off our lineup of monsters, we're going to have 3 copies of Madolche Pentencissoire. It's the best extender in the deck. It can summon itself if you have no monsters in grave, and then summon another one. Typically speaking, these will be one of your 2 copies of Madolche Pudding Cess. Itself is not particularly useful, but some of the Xyz monsters require it as material in order to use their effects properly. It's good to run 2 copies instead of 1, so that if you draw into one, you've not completely bricked. And on the off chance that your opponent foils the plays with 1, you haven't completely lost your ability to play and use the deck. Next up, 3 copies of Madolche Angeli. If for whatever reason you don't have Pentencissoire in hand to begin with, you can use her as plan B to summon the Pentencissoire by tributing it. Or, in a pinch, you can also summon any of the other Madolches. Next up, we've got one of the few non-fairy monsters, that's Madolche Madeleine. 3 copies for the Angeli, 3 copies for the Madeleine. On normal or flip summon, you can search any of the other ones. Under normal circumstances, that's going to be your Pentencissoire to go full combo. Next up, 2 copies of Madolche Messengelato. He's your way to search your spells and traps. He's not once per turn, so he can be looped up to 3 or 4 times a turn, depending on how well you play your combo. You only need 2 copies because he can be shuffled back into the deck due to the Xyz monster's effects. 2 copies of Hootcake, which can help you summon the Messengelato, and is a requirement on field to use Messengelato's effects. He's a pretty good extender, so yeah. That's all for the main deck Madolche monsters. However, we will be running multiple Kaijus. Depending on how you like to play, you can also substitute these for hand traps. 3 copies of Gameciel for having low ATK. And then a single copy of Godarla, the Mystery Dust Kaiju, and a single copy of Juzkiru, the Star Destroying Kaiju, who we are playing in order to summon off of Interrupted Kaiju Slumber, because of its high ATK. Next up, going into our spells, a single copy of Terraforming in order to search and or bait out Ash. A single copy of Forbidden Chalice, which is a good generic negate. You can swap this out for any generic card, like a hand trap or Forbidden Droplets. 2 copies of Interrupted Kaiju Slumber to blow up your opponent's field or bait out a negate, and then summon Kaijus. Additionally, it can banish itself from grave to search a Kaiju for more extended matches. You only play the 2 copies because you really don't want to be seeing 2 of these in hand, so playing out 3 is unadvisable. 2 copies of Draw Muscle, a personal tech choice for obtaining more draw power and resource efficiency. Now, this is a bit frowned upon because it does require you to already be partway through your combo to actually be used, but I found that it's not fully useless, and I have yet to brick on it. We're running 2 copies of Madolche Chateau. You'll want to search this off of your Messengelato if you didn't have it in hand to begin with. It shuffles your things into the deck in order to provide a key extension, so it's a crucial part to the deck. Additionally, it gives your monsters the attack boost that's necessary to do the crisp, clean Madolche OTK. A single copy of Madolche Salon, which allows you to normal summon another Madolche. And additionally, it also allows you to set a spell or trap from deck, which will let us get into our traps. 2 copies of Madolche Ticket, which allow you yet another extension, another summon from deck when you shuffle things into the deck, which this deck does a lot of. Then looking at our trap lineup, we're going to start with 2 copies of Compulsory Evac. This is a great way to interrupt your opponent if, for whatever reason, they catch on that you're playing a going second deck and force you to go first. 3 copies of Solemn Judgment. This is the salt and pepper of Yu-Gi-Oh! You can stick it on anything. It's an excellent negate and can win you the game if you time it right. 2 copies of Madolche Promenade to search off of your things. It's a convenient Omni-Negate. 2 copies of Quaking Mirror Force. Now, this can be swapped out for hand traps if you're one of those players who really frowns on battle traps, but just this time around, it really does have a sweet synergy with one of the boss monsters, which can not once per turn shuffle things back into the deck, including face downs. Finally, getting into our extra deck. 3 copies of Madolche Fresh Sistart. Not gonna lie, her main utility is getting things into the grave and getting a 2k beat stick onto the field. Her effect does come in sometime, but it's not the reason you're playing it. 3 copies of Madolche Teacher Glass Souffle. She's just a way to climb into Chocolat mode, but she can occasionally come in useful as well. Aside from that, she's just a step on the ladder. She isn't useful in her own right. Finally, Madolche Tiramisu, which is the one that can shuffle things from your opponent's field into the deck by shuffling things from your graveyard into the deck, which will set off a plethora of your effects. Since it's only soft once per turn, if you summon all 3 of them, you can use all 3 of them, meaning that you can shuffle up to 6 cards non-targeting into your opponent's deck, and this will do away with most things. If your opponent has a towers, consult the kaijus. The last card that we're running is triple copies of Madolche Princesse Chocolat à la Mode. This is a crucial extender and does half the work in the deck. Under normal circumstances, you'll be using her effect at least twice in your combo to summon from deck when a card is shuffled. Additionally, the field spell will boost her to 3k, meaning that after you've used Tiramisu to shuffle your opponent's field back to their deck, you can use 2 Sistarts and, 1 Sistart and 2 Princesse Chocolat à la Mode to hit your opponent for exactly 8k. That will be all. Good day.